And we're live.
Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. You're all welcome to another time again. So today we are going to be discussing about the requirement for the MCT. But before that, we need to really hear from those who have passed through that line. And we have people, a couple of people who have been in MCT for years. Somebody like Dan Rain, who has been there for about 25 years. And then we have Jerry Solomon, and then we have Fred, and then also have Frank. I'm just starting, I'm not clock 1 year, but yeah. So it's a nice thing to hear from this people who have passed through the line, who have actually been into this training. And I believe Fred is also part of the MCT, and he has done a whole lot of things. And so we are going to be listening from we're going to be hearing from them, so they will be able to give us one or two insights for those who are out there that want to become a Microsoft certified professional. Now, being the Microsoft certified trainer is not about just it's not just because you want, because the thing is that one thing with technology is that it's always good when you know these things and then you teach. The more you teach, the more you get better in these things. Okay, so it's not just to have, it's not all about having the title, it's all about you imparting into people, into the community, and also even helping yourself. It goes a long way to also help you to retain those skills that you already have. Okay, so without further ado, we quickly, oh, I think Dan is here with us. Oh, thank you, Dan. Wow, thank you. We already have his recording, but he's here, so I think we should just go uh straight up with him, and then if he breaks off, then we might probably just switch. All right. Okay. So as you all know, people on this call are not new to us. Yeah, they are amazing. Amazing. They do amazing things in their fields. And I have Solomon Jeremiah, we all know, is the founder of ABC of Cloud. He was once, two times the Microsoft MVP. He's also an MVP, but I think he just tried to back out. And I think an MVP is forever an MVP anyway. So, and he's also a Microsoft trainer. So, and then we also have Frank. Frank is an amazing person. He's also an MVP and also an MCT. He has been doing a lot of things in the community. I can tell you that my first speaking event was on his platform in the tech. So thank you, Frank, for that. And also we have Frederick. Frederick is an MVP. He's also an MCT, and not just only an MCT. Frederick is also part of the instructional skill provider, which his company does. So I actually did with his company, and they are quite amazing, and they the delivery is great. The class was so engaging, and so I believe after today you might say, okay, if you feel that you want to become an MCT, then Frederick is the right plug for you for your instructional skill provider. Okay, thank you, Frederick, for that. So, and then we also have Dan Dan Ray. Dan Ray I can say Dan Ray is like a celebrity in the tech industry, because everyone, I think in my community, they know Dan Ray. Dan Ray is a voice to be reckoned with. And why do I say that? Because he's the kind of person that wants everyone, no matter whether if we are just starting your tech background today, Barry is there to make sure he picks you up, to make sure that you are there. In fact, he will make you feel as if you have been in this industry for years. And also, Dare, I happened to meet Dare through Solomon, and it has been an amazing. We are no the last time he came to the UK, we met physically. He arranged the tour to LinkedIn office, and which was very very amazing. And I was so it was something dreamy to him when I saw he said he has been an MCT for 25 years, 25 solid years. So you could see the consistency in that. It has not, I know it's not an easy task. So we're going to be hearing from him today how he has been able to navigate how the journey has been so far and right now. Okay, so Dare is also an MVP also. So thank you for joining this call. Okay, so I will first of all have this question goes to um, Solomon Jeremiah. So we all know Solomon Jeremiah is a fantastic. If you look at his name there, you see the founder of ABC of Cloud. In case if you don't know, if you've been seeing that ABC of Cloud, you see a lot of people doing a whole lot of things. This is the founder, ABC of Cloud. So ABC of Cloud is a community where he trained a lot of people, where people have zero experience. When I say zero experience in tech, some people have zero experience. When you talk about cloud, they don't know anything about cloud. But today they can boldly come out and say, this is what. Yesterday we are actually in a particular live program, which is Precious on TikTok, and she was talking about virtual network. And look at it, if you ask her 2 years ago, or let's say 5 years ago, can she? No, but now she can, all through because of this amazing fellow Solomon Jeremiah. Thank you very much, and thank you for how you've opened your community to everyone. And it's not just a community that you just come and just say, okay, just come and learn. No, you must the motivation is there. 8 months. If you are in a community and somebody is cheating you for 8 months, you know what it is. He has abandoned a whole lot of things. 8 months for free, not even for a dime. 8 months. That is a sacrifice. So this is what Jeremiah has been doing for years. I've having to be in his training. When he started all his training, I'm always coming back because I want to gain something. And there's no training I join that I don't gain something. Why? Because of so you are going to hear from him. He's an amazing trainer. You will know that for somebody to train people for 8 months without a pen, and then he's still even, in fact, I can remember the last cohort. Sorry, I think that was last year or so. Some people, he even had to buy laptop for them. He buy laptop for some of them. Like, I was like, wow, this is somebody who has sacrificed everything. This is somebody who you want to listen to. This is somebody who you want him to mentor you. Okay, so thank you. In fact, if I want to continue talking, we'll not leave here. So without further ado, Jeremiah, I just want to go with you. Now, we all know that the Microsoft MCT program is an interesting. Those people who are in MCT, they already know MCT is an interesting community. Is an interesting thing to have. Okay, and that's also makes you to be a better person in your field and what you do. Depending on the skills you actually embark on. So Solomon, I just want to ask you now. I know you've been at MCT for years now. If you can just briefly tell us, what is Microsoft Certified Trainer? What is it all about, and why
Mm,
are you an MCT?
okay. Okay, my mic is already on mute. Okay. Hello everyone. Thank you, Opayemi, for inviting me to this event. Frank, it's nice to meet you again. I know it's been a while. Frederick, is also nice to see you. Dan Ray, always nice to talk to you and see you as usual. And to everyone watching us today, thank you all for joining this live event. So when we are talking about the Microsoft Certified Trainer, when you're certified to do something, it means you are globally recognized to provide training instruction around Microsoft. Now, but then I know there are a lot of talks and conversation that will go around the MCT, which is the Microsoft Certified Trainer. before you actually even become the Microsoft trainer, we know you have to go through trainings to, get the certification to become, the a Microsoft certified trainer. But there's something I always tell people. There's one requirement that people need to understand why it is there. And that requirement is you need to have at least an associate certification before you can actually become. So what that simply means is that for you to actually have that certification, you probably must have learned. And after you've learned, you've also practiced, and then you write the exam. That's how you go through writing the exam. So what that simply means is that as a Microsoft certified trainer, you would have access to resources, there are benefits that comes with it, and you also have training materials. And when you have that training materials, you can now offer training to organization. You can also have like communities you offer training to. You can probably still offer training to like live events like this. So that's basically what the Microsoft MCT is all about. There are still other conversations around the Microsoft MCT because I know I just spoke about you are certified globally to provide instruction around Microsoft technologies. And these instructions include having access to lab resources, having access to courses, right? There are courses that only you as an MCT can have. And sometimes I tell people, as an MCT, I might want to talk about something. I don't really need to build my slide from scratch. I can just go to a course material, download it. I already have like the full slide. And that slide, I tell people, it is solely for MCT. I cannot give you that slide. It is solely for Microsoft Certified Trainer. You have access to those resources, and then you can provide training and also, help people to go through labs around Microsoft technology. That's just like well, I say the higher level of what the MCT is all about.
All right, all right, all right. Thank you very much, Solomon. Thank you for that thing. Okay, so as like just like as he has said, to become a my what you just said something just briefly, and so to become an MCT, that's requirement that entails you to become that an MCT, because MCT, is the Microsoft Certified Trainer, is the body, so which a Microsoft for you to be able to teach Microsoft product, okay, and things like that. All right, so thank you for that. So this question goes to Fred. So if I may ask Fred, now what are the most strategic certification that is needed to become an MCT? What are the certification that is needed to become an MCT? Hello.
Okay. Thank you very much,
All
Stephen.
right.
If I got to the question right, you wanted to know what are the strategies or what are the main courses for one to take to become an MCT. Is that
Yeah, no,
correct?
the certifications that you need to become an MCT. What are those
Okay.
certifications you need to have first?
Okay. So for me, from where I sit, I would say that if you want to become an MCT, then you should be someone who has passionate for at least sharing knowledge and really committed to learn continuously. Now, when it comes to the MCT, you need to have three what I call the three major pillars, which has to do with you need to have compassion to really teach people, contribute or learn. Then two, in terms of the Microsoft space, you need to have any of the role-based certification. Before 2020, you could have been a Microsoft certified trainer through the MOS program, which was the Microsoft Office suite. But currently, it's purely for the role base, which is the associate or any of the expert level. And you should also have taken a course has to do with the instructional certificate providers, which is ISCP. You should have taken a course with them, at least, and that one gives you the skills to really train or to really teach people. So those are the three basic requirements. The first one, at least you need to have the passion, because if you don't have the passion to really teach or train, then to be quite a difficult one. You need to at least ensure that you have your certification. That's have a role based, and you should ensure that you have taken the Instructional Skills Certificate program with any of the accredited Microsoft MC, I mean the MCT program. So that's what you really need to do. So far as you're able to do that, then you can really put yourself out there as a Microsoft certified trainer to train people on Microsoft technologies. And you can do that either through a TSP, or you yourself also putting yourself out there to train people, and basically to train people on Microsoft technologies. Thank you.
All right, all right. Thank you, very much, Fred. Yeah. So I think if I think what I love from what you just said, that you must have that passion. Okay, the passion to teach, because it's the passion that you have that will actually even sustain you. If you look at Dan Ray, I he has been an MCT for over 25 years. So that's to tell you that the passion. Okay, so the passion is what is mostly important. You need to have that passion, not just because I just because my friend is an MCT. Okay, I also want to be an MCT. Though you must have that passion first. Okay, so it is that passion. I can remember when my former place of work. Then I think one of my colleague or my manager, usually when I get to work, they just say, Stephen, how did you sleep at all? I'm like, "Fine. We see you online. Oh, you're doing Azure, you're doing that. How do you combine those things? How do you combine it together with work?" And I said, "Oh, everything is just for the passion. It's because of the passion I have for it. Most of the time when I get back from work, I just come back, I just sit on my seat. I want to do one or two things before I go to bed. Okay, so the passion is very, very important. So thank you for that. Thank you very much. All right, so I think this question will go to Frank. So I want to my question goes like this now. What is your advice for someone who wants to become an MCT? I think you need to mute.
How you doing? I suppose one of the main things I always tell people in any training, right, is practice, practice. That's how you get perfect, you know? So, like, I always point people to the Microsoft Learn website. And so, if you're doing any certification, they have a training thing in there, and it kind of tells you if you're doing a certification, go in here, practice, 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 right? And if you get up to 85% three times in that platform for that particular certification, you're good to go. So it gives you the confidence that you're ready to go and take your certification and pass that exam. And the last time I actually used that myself for the AI 900 certification, and I got the biggest score ever on any Microsoft certification. I came out with 900 points. I think Solomon was congratulating me on that one as well, like first 900 he ever saw, and that's thanks to practice, 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 and that's how you do it.
All right, all right, all right. Thank you very much. I think that is quite very key, because for you to become a trainer, you must practice, because you want to impart into people. You don't just jump on a class and just want to teach. You have to practice whatever you want to impart into people. You know that, yes, because practice make perfect. Okay, you don't have to be like some people wait to be 100%. You might not be 100% at that moment, but gradually as time goes on, then you now become perfect in that particular field. So practice is quite very, very important. So if you are out there and you want to become an MCT, have it at the back of your mind that you need to do your own assignment first before you can go out there to say you want to impart into someone. Okay, just like what Jeremiah said. He said there is a slide already provided by Microsoft. Okay, now you can't just go to that. You can't just go on that slide and then download and just go to the class. No matter, you still have to go through those slides, then see how you want to present that particular, how you want to impart that particular subject to people out there. So which is practice is very, very important. Thank you very much for that, Frank. All right, okay, I now have Dan Ray. So sorry, we need to wrap up on time because of we also have another program after this live, so I don't want us to spend too much of time. So I'm just trying to make sure we get the key point while we are here before we start any other go into another thing. All right. So Dan Reid, thank you very much for being here. I think this is one of the things I'm talking about when I said about collaboration. Dan is a big fan of collaboration. Before he has told me that he's not going to be around, but now I just saw him on the car. I was like, okay, so that's to tell you that he sacrificed. So that's to tell you that's who Dan is. He has done the recording already, but now we have him live. Thank you very much, Dan. Thank you very much for taking out your time to be here. All right. So my question for you is, you have been in this MCT for 25 good solid years. And when I look at you saying being MC for 25 solid years, I can remember the last program I have, Women in Tech. I have women who have been in tech for 30 years. I have some having 20 years, 25 years, and some of them are also an MCT. I have like Teresa was there, and then a whole lot of them they've been doing so. And look at you again, Dan, saying you have been an MCT for 25 years. How has the journey been? Can you just briefly tell how has this journey been for the past 25 years?
Yeah, about half of that time I spent at Microsoft. I got my MCT in the year 2000. I posted about Martha Murray, who was in my class. Martha was a seasoned trainer, but had just never gotten the Microsoft Certified Trainer credential, the MCT credential. I was almost the opposite. I was a seasoned IT administrator. I had worked help desk, service desk type jobs, but I hadn't necessarily had the formal training as a trainer. I had done some informal, basically end user training and explaining my job to other people that started with me, but I had never done it formally as a trainer. And so Martha was almost the reverse of me. I'd been doing training for years. She works for Adobe now, but had never done the formality of getting her MCT. So we both went through the instructional skills class that Fred runs. And at the time, we had to do a recording. So at the end, you had to record something, and it didn't matter if it was technical, it was just to show your instructional skills. So explaining something, answering questions, making that presentation engaging. And Hermine Turner, who just said hello from Detroit and just put in a link to the certifications that you can use. Thank you so much, Hermine. Is another person along those 25 years that I met. I met her in Florida for the first time in person and realized that I've been following her on Twitter at the time for probably 3 to 4 years. I mean, for a long time, we had been, virtually introduced to each other. But Hermine is one of those people that I've met along the way. And it's been a wonderful journey of both meeting other trainers that I can kind of commiserate and compare stories with and share funny moments from classes, and then also meeting students. So just like Solomon, Jeremiah mentioned, and others, Frank was introduced through a mutual friend who became an MVP and was a longtime MCT, Matthew Brown. Frank and Matthew introduced me to Solomon. Solomon introduced me to you, Opiemi, Stephen. It's just, it's been that community has grown out of those 25 years.
Oh, wow, 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 wow. Amazing, amazing. Thank you very much, Dan, for that. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much. And my other question still goes to you. Um, being a Microsoft certified trainer, what are the most challenges you face during preparation? What are
Great
those challenges?
question. Yeah, great
Yeah.
question. I put this in the video, so I'll share it here live. When I started, we got physical binders. They used to be green before I started as a
Hmm.
MCT. They turned into these, and then they became bound books eventually. But these are 3-ring binders where you can add your own materials. But at the time, MCTs, to Solomon's point about the slides that we get as MCTs, we also got all sorts of additional material in our version of the book. So the preparation today doesn't necessarily give you like here's your version of Microsoft Learn and here's your student's version of Microsoft Learn. It's the same version of the Microsoft documentation, but as a MCT, a lot of times you have the benefit of figuring out where all those little hubs and spokes are around the Microsoft environment. So they won't necessarily point you from learn.microsoft.com to support.microsoft.com or to techcommunity.microsoft.com or to all these different repositories that many students may not even know exist. So whether that's a website that Microsoft has, whether that's changes that Microsoft has made to a product like Teams. Teams right now in the browser will respond if you go to teams.cloud.microsoft, but they haven't done the redirect from teams.microsoft.com. So as a trainer, figuring out and learning some of those little like nuances or things that the average person doesn't know yet is one way to prepare and then be able to give back something that the students can't read about or may not be aware of or aren't going to find somewhere other than taking your class. Same thing with like the LinkedIn Live, preparing for that for the MS 721, which is all about events and the communications capabilities of Teams. The preparation was a lot of the things I do as a consultant, along with training and getting hands-on experience with porting phone numbers from different platforms or modifying a Skype environment to upgrade it to Microsoft Teams calling and phone plans. So that's what I would share is, a lot of the preparation used to be very easy for us relatively because we got material exclusively for MCTs besides the slides. Now a lot of it is that real world experience. The other thing I found that I'll just end on is a lot of times I've learned from my students. So I shared in my video, in case I was either in the car or not a place where I could join today with network connectivity, a story of using an example of explicit deny. So in permissions and shares back in server, Windows Server, you had the ability to say, this group is explicitly denied. They cannot access a particular resource. And for about 6 months, I asked everybody in class, does anybody have a practical example? I just couldn't think of why you would do that because you're denied by default if you're not given access. And somebody in class 6 months later, a woman piped up and said, "Oh, I'm very familiar with why we do this." And I said, "Well, can you share? I can't think of that practical example." She said, "Unfortunately, when people are being let go from a company or there's some type of significant change like that, sometimes you'll explicitly deny so they might have access to their account and to log on and maybe to email, but maybe they lose access to a CRM or a confidential proprietary, database or system at work. And so they can still kind of wrap up their role, but they don't necessarily have access to things that are specifically for employees. And I thought, that's not the example I necessarily wanted to have. I wanted to have something maybe, more positive, but it was a good example of, this is why, you might specifically deny a set of users to certain resources at work.
All right. Thank you very much, Dan, for that. Yeah, actually, I think the reason why I think I asked that question was because now if you have any particular class to deliver, there's slides, prepared slide by Microsoft. All you just need to do is just go there, download, and then go through it, and then you deliver the class. And when you say you will be an MCT for over 25 years, I was just thinking during that period, all these things, are you like the benefit Microsoft is giving for MCT now? Are those benefits really were they there during that period?
Yeah, the benefits. So when I started, I believe the yearly fee was $300. And so for my first 5 years, I was an employee, a full-time trainer employee, right? So I didn't have to pay for my MCT because my employer covered the cost. My employer, I put in the recorded video, my employer at the time actually helped me get my MCT. So instead of having to pay for the instructional skills class, that was part of the negotiation of a project I was finishing up. And that's how I met Martha. The benefits for $300 included some of the same things they do now, but at the time, instead of just you can download whatever you want, they would send you literally boxes full of CDs when I started and DVDs later that had, Windows Client, and they had Windows Server, and they had different versions of the software, and they had SharePoint when SharePoint came out in 2007, and just all this different software, whether you were an MCT in that area, like development or SQL or server versus Windows Client or Office, you got everything. And so that's a big thing that's changed over the 25 years is instead of having to produce all of these physical media and send that to every MCT in the world, they can now just say, here's the download. And if you need to download it, you're welcome to. Here's your product keys.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Thank you very much for that. So my next question goes to Solomon. Question goes to Solomon. Now, how has the MCT program shaped your career and influence? I'm not sure we can hear you. No, I can't hear you.
Yeah, I can't hear him either.
Yeah. I think you're muted now. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yep.
Yes, we can hear you. Cool.
Great. Yeah, I was saying thank you for the question you asked. In terms of how the MCT has shaped my career, I always tell people when the title is from learner to leader, right? That's the title. So when it comes to career growth, leadership, there's this quote I always just have in mind. The quote is before you are a leader, success is all about you growing yourself. And then when you become a leader, success is all about you growing others. And there's still another quote where they say you try to become a leader, so you put more energy into learning, building yourself. And then when you become a leader, it doesn't just stop there. You still have to put in more energy in, building yourself. It's not like a circle, right? You keep learning, you're growing, you keep learning, and then you keep helping other people. So in terms of how, the question is, if you say, how does, instructing or giving out training, how has it impacted me? That's exactly what this question is all about. Even if we say, how has MCT impacted you? When it comes to you training or trying to teach someone something, I always tell people it is totally different from when you're learning to do something. So I could have an issue I want to solve, or I have something I want to deploy. I can easily go to the Microsoft doc and just review it and know how to deploy that stuff, because I'm just trying to learn for myself. And after learning for myself, I'm learning to, implement something. Is very easier to it's easier for you to do that. You can just learn, build. But then when you want to teach someone, the way you learn is totally different. You have to be sure you understand what you're learning before you actually go and explain to someone. Now, you want to be passing the right information to someone. If I have to talk about, maybe give training about AZ104, I have to be sure I'm passing the right information, because the person I'm giving that information, what they are hearing from me would likely stick into their head, and it might not be easy for them to, just dump it. So I have to do that. I have to prepare very well for that. So when we also look at this in terms of, I'm going to train, I'm preparing very well so I can pass the right information. You would also note that while you're doing all of this stuff, you're also building yourself. Because before I try to train someone, it simply means that I am training myself. I probably want to tell you this is how this works. And I'm trying to know that I'm passing the right information. That means I'm training myself on how that stuff works. I'm trying to understand that stuff, and then I'm trying to now transfer the knowledge to someone else. So when we want to look at it in terms of how the MCT will help you, generally your skill set, it improves your skill set. And the more you learn, the more you're growing. I know learning for me doesn't end, and for most people I know it doesn't end. You keep learning, and for every time I get to learn new things, it gives me the opportunity to also speak with people. Because if I don't probably know how to use Azure and know how to speak about Azure, I'll probably not be in a live event talking about Azure, and I probably would not meet Danry. I might meet him, but I might be at the other side just listening and asking, "Oh, what is he saying?" and all of that. But the fact that I am learning and also trying to, teach people, train people, what that is actually doing for me is I'm getting involved in the community. Apart from also getting involved in the community, I'm also creating network. I'm networking with other people in that field. So through the MCT program, through training people, I've gotten to meet people, I've gotten to speak with professionals, I've gotten to learn stuff for myself, I've gotten to relearn stuff, because sometimes we learn, and when we are learning about Microsoft technology is so dynamic, it's so fast. We have Ignite, they're telling us about new stuff. And while they're telling us about new stuff, what is happening in the Microsoft portal, M365, I can tell you, if you sleep and wake up, something new would probably change when you log into the portal. I know when I started using the Microsoft portal back then, a lot is changing. Now, when you are someone that you love to train, you have passion for training, and you provide this instruction, you have to always go and update yourself. Sometimes there are a few people that might just say, "Oh, work, I know I have to do this, do this, do this at work," and maybe you're just focused on that. What that simply means is that a lot will be happening just because what you're doing at work, nothing is changing in that area. So you're just focused on that, doing that, and maybe you just wake up in 5 years' time, somebody saying, "Oh, go and help me change this." You say, "Oh, this portal, I know there was no Microsoft Defender yet. I used to see security or something like that." So everything would just change for you. But if you're learning, you keep yourself updated, and the people you're training, they might, change, because today I might be training a new set of people, and those new set of people, they are gone. I have a new set of people I'm trying to train. I am the one updating myself with the current trend and changes in technology, while I am passing that knowledge to other people. So training for me, I would say it has impacted me in terms of my career. in terms of how to, communicate with people, how to deal with people. Because sometimes when you want to train people, you will meet different people from different backgrounds, from different countries, from different tribes. And sometimes the way they will deal with you, sometimes you might be, oh, I'm giving a training and somebody's just coming, turning on their mic, saying stuff that, and you say, oh, please mute your mic. And 2 seconds, their mic is on. People do stuffs, right? Environment to meet different people. So over the years, this is not just going to teach you how to train, but also it's going to teach you how to, deal with people. So you know how to say, okay, please, can you, this is how I want this to be done. This is how what you should follow. You just know how to maintain and deal with people. So all of that does not just come with learning the technology itself. It also trains you on, your relationship with people, your networking with people, how to deal with people, how to also interact with people. And over the years, it's going to teach you how you should also speak. Because sometimes I basically would just sit down and say, let me listen to what I've been saying, right? And by the time you're listening to yourself, you'll be like, wow, I don't want to listen to myself. Did I say that? But then eventually you start paying consciousness to some of the stuffs you say and how you can, control your speed. That is you training people, but then that is you also learning some other skills that you need to do the right stuff. So that is how I can say this has also contributed to me, myself, and also to the people that learn from me.
All right, all right. Wow, wow, wow. Thank you very much. I think I think I love the part that you said no learning. You have to keep learning because you want to also impart on people. You also learn. Just like what you said. Microsoft technology changes over time. At times, I can remember when I log into the was it the Purview portal? Was it Purview or security? I just saw the portal. Everything just changed completely. You want to do data loss prevention, you don't even know where to go to again. Like everything just changed completely. I think it took me some time to really to navigate around that portal. So it's very important to learn and learn and learn and learn and learn. So thank you very much for that, Solomon. So my next question goes to Fred. So, like I said earlier on, Fred happened to be he happens to be one of the instructional skill provider that is being certified by Microsoft. So, which means that like if you want to become a Microsoft certified trainer, you have to first of all go through the skill you have to further go through the skills provider stuff, and which uh, Fred happens to be one of the his company happens to be one of the provider, which I actually went through them. And I remember when I wanted to do my own, after I spoke to Solomon and I spoke to Dan Ray, and they told me the whole requirement. I said, okay, I went online and then I did check, and then I found other company anyway, but I just found them, just something just drew my attention to them, and I messaged him, and they were very fast. He responded to me, and thereabout I made my payment, and the class was I remember even after the class I couldn't have time to even do the oral exam, because you have to do the oral exam and then also the practical exam, which is you have to teach for 20 minutes and then you submit the recording and things like that. So they were so flexible. Everything was also flexible, with my work and everything. And then the delivery was also fantastic. So thank you for that. So my question for you now is, what are your advice for people that want to become a Microsoft certified trainer? Now, what are the things that you think they should look out for? What are your advice for them? Yeah.
Thank you very much, Stephen. And let me pick it up from maybe where Dan and also Solomon left off. Really, the MCT status, it's a continuous learning, it's a credential, and it's renewable every year. So if you're not learning, then it means the following year you'll be out. So it's not like a status you get and it's forever. It is a continuous learning process. So if you don't learn, if you don't have passion for learning, then MCT is not really for you, because it is continuous. Now, in terms of trying to be very active and having the passion or the process in terms of getting your ISP. As I said, the process in terms is very simple. All you need has to do with making sure that you register or get in touch with any of the ISP. And as you mentioned, my company also do provide those services. Now, if you really want to be in, then you really need to have the passion for learning. You need to ensure that you really want to learn. And as already said, when it comes to the Microsoft Office space, every now and then things are changing, things are getting updated, new things are happening. So you need to ensure that you are learning constantly. Now, when it comes to the instructional skills, you need to really have the tenacity to really instruct, to learn. And what normally those services we provide in there is to give you that ambience, to give you that space, to give you the small tricks and tips in there to help you to really engage your students very well and quite effectively. So that's what really happens in that space. And when it comes to the Microsoft certified credentials, and we know that Microsoft is a really big company, and before they give you that such a status, you should have gone through a very rigorous training. And it's very important that you get yourself associated with a really qualified ISP to really get yourself in it. In terms of the process, so far as you have your credentials, as we said, you have your associate certification or role based, then you can move on to take your ISP course, which normally can take, depending on the company you are dealing with, depending on your schedule, at least within a week. Some run it for 5 days, some run it for 3 days. And through that, you submit your video section, which is now more of like what you have really gone through. We really want to find out whether you really understand what you have really gone through. So then there will be a session for that. Then also you need to also go through an oral test to ensure that at least whatever you have learned has really stuck in there and you'll be able to really apply. The credential is a good one. The brand Microsoft is strong, and a lot of people currently are really, really rushing. I won't say rushing, but because of the status of Microsoft, now everybody wants to become an MCT. But one thing I always advise my clients is that if you don't have passion to learn continuously, then MCT is really not for you, because in that space, in terms of the technology space, everything is changing every second. I mean, stuffs are changing every second. And if you are not someone who really wants to sit down to learn, then MCT is really not for you. For me, that's what I would say in terms of the question you asked.
All right, all right. Thank you very much. I think if there's one thing I can get from all this conversation today is just about learning. You have to learn. So, and there's no age barrier to learning. It's just your mindset. Okay, so it's just your mindset, and there's nothing that is too that is too, let me not use the word too difficult, but there's something that is too difficult. It's just your mindset. If you want to, I could remember that was the time I had an issue in my company, which a user, I think they were having issue of getting notification on their Microsoft Teams, that is on Mac machine, and we did everything. In fact, that ticket didn't even come to me. He went to a colleague of mine, and he went, and fortunately the guy went for leave, and then the ticket was passed on to me, and then they've raised the ticket with even Microsoft. Our own duty is just to be there to see how they're going to be, because we've done the whole troubleshooting and nothing works. So, and I said, when they passed the ticket to me, I said this should be able to workable. We don't have to go to Microsoft to get. And I contacted Jerry. I remember I contacted Solomon that day. I don't know, maybe if he remember. I contacted him. I told him, I said, have you come in contact with this kind of issue before? And he said, go and download, go and check online and check this is. And I went and I researched. So the only thing he told me was to go online and check for XYZ. Now, the reason why I was able to go online was because I also wanted to learn. If I wanted to do, I would have just decided to say, okay, this ticket has been escalated to Microsoft. They will come and fix it. My own is just to be intermediate between the user and the Microsoft engineer. I could have just sit and relax. But that day, because of I wanted to learn, so I went online and I was able to do what Jerry told me to do. And I went on the call with the user, and and I did that. And after some time, it did not work. I don't, but I know because of Microsoft, when you do something, it takes some time to sync. So you have to be patient. So the user wasn't that patient, was like, I was okay. And we went on call with the Microsoft guy. The guy even came and he was a Microsoft engineer, and he said, okay, I was even thinking that the guy was only to fix the issue, but the guy was even asking question, and he was saying that he's not the one that will fix the issue, but he has to escalate it to another body. I was like, I said, okay, no problem. And then just to cut the story short, at the end of the day, when we left the call, the user just came to call me and just say, it's working now. It's working. Steve, what did you do? It's working now. And I said, you mean it's working? I said, no, I didn't do anything. I said, I remember the only first thing I did was to do my own troubleshooting, and then I believe that works, but because it takes time to sync. And then I said, okay, don't worry, I will ask the guy if maybe they've done anything at the back end. And I messaged the Microsoft guy and asked him, have you done anything? The guy said no, that they didn't do anything, that he has not even escalated it to his. And I said, I said, now this stuff is working. So which means that the fix I did actually fixed that issue, which makes it to be working. So all still
maybe
went down to
yeah. So maybe Stephen, maybe just to chip in one or two things. One thing about the MCT status also has to do with the community. The Microsoft Certified community is really a big one, and as you can see, even for us being connected right now has to do because at least most of us are MCTs, so all of us are MCTs, and within the community, so far as you are an MCT and you need help, and you go onto the platform, the lounge, and you put your issues there, people will be willing to really support you in terms of training, in terms of any difficulty you are facing. So for me, as much as you want to be a trainer, the community itself also supports each other, and it's a really wonderful community which I will entreat anybody to really join if you really want to become a trainer. The MCT is really for you. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you very much. So that's it. So community is very very important. Okay, so once you have community like this, so don't feel as if, oh, if I join, I'm on my own. No, you're not on your own. The Microsoft MCT has their own community. We on this platform, we are all MCT. We also have our own community where if you get stuck with one of two things, you just need to just message and say, okay, please, have you come in contact with this issue and things like that. So everything still boils down to what? Learning. So learning is very important, and it's very key. So thank you for that. So I will just go because of
speakers. I think Chris,
sorry, I think. All right, thank you. So because of our time, I just want to make sure this call is just we finish at least by 5 or thereabout, because there's another meeting immediately after this event. All right. So thank you for that. And this my question, this other question is about time management. Time management. Now, what can you tell us? This question goes to Solomon. So what can you talk about time management as a trainer? Because some learners intend have to have maybe like learning lifespan. Some people, when you teach them for a very long time, they intend to lose control. So what is your advice for upcoming trainer about time management when delivering any class?
So for me, I know time is very important. Apart from even delivering training in your day-to-day activities, you have to be conscious about time. You have to plan yourself for the day. You also have to plan yourself in work as well. Everything involves time. So when it comes to training as well, time management is also very important. And the reason I say time management is also very important, if you're training, some people might just want to train and say, okay, I need to deliver this training in 2 days. So everything about this training goes in 2 days. I'm going to dump it. If you understand, it's fine. Eventually, some people will be like, you've heard about it, go and do your own research, right? There's that kind of training where they pack everything, give it to you, just take it. You've heard me spoke about it, go and do your research. We also have training where people are more interactive with people they train, and they try to know the pace at which they are moving. So for me, I always say for my training, most times I try to know the people I'm training, right? If I'm coming to train someone that has heard about something, they know about it, they just want to know more. The pace at which I'll be moving and how I would manage my time is different from someone that don't even have any idea. So when I'm dealing with someone that does not have any idea, I'm looking at how to spread my time very well and also get feedback from the person I'm training. I might say training is for 2 hours. We have breaks by maybe 15 minutes break after a particular hour, then another 15 minutes break for the training. But then if I start to deliver the training and I see some people are not catching up and I don't want to leave them behind, I can either extend the 2 hours to the next day. So just so that everybody can, be at the same space. And that's also so I don't overload people. So for me, I always tell people I do training aside from the normal training you give to companies. I do training for people in my community, and most of the questions I've gotten from people is, how do you train people for 9 months? Like, what are you training them for 9 months? Like, but eventually, I tell people there is nobody that goes through my training that I would not confidently tell you anything you put in that person's hand, that person would be able to deliver it. And the reason I'm saying that is because it's not like I cannot run a training for 2 months or 3 months. But when we're looking at time management, how they need to assimilate it, and stuffs that they need to understand before they understand something else. It's just like me telling people, I know I always give this very good example. We have the cloud, and I've seen most people say, oh, we want to deliver courses for beginners. And then the beginner you're delivering a course to, you're telling the person, let me teach you about cloud computing. And you got to the part where you're saying, let's talk about virtual network. You're just teaching the person how to create virtual network in the cloud. And the person you're teaching how to create the virtual network in the cloud does not know the difference between a public or private IP, does not know the classes of IP addresses, does not know what subnetting is, does not even know what networking is. But then you're just showing the person, when you click next, you select this, put in the numbers. They don't know how those numbers are getting there. So, but in your own training, you're probably covering virtual network. And your audience, you don't know your audience. So that's where you need to know your audience. Your audience, you probably know they're beginners. They don't know about networking. They don't know anything about, the fundamentals of networking. And you're teaching them this thing, Azure Virtual Network. So you need to understand the people you're training. You need to know you need to make it interactive, because even if you know the people you're training and then the training is not going as you planned it, maybe people need more time to assimilate, then you need to be flexible enough to, put all of that into factor when you're delivering your training. That way, for me, I would say majority of the people don't get stressed. And then you can always give like a survey form. The survey form is, if I have a training today, I probably drop a survey just to tell you, hey, can you check these boxes? What did you think you need in this training I'm delivering? And that can actually help you to adjust for the next day of the training. So these ways, I think it can actually help you in terms of, your training, so that people don't get overwhelmed.
All right, all right. Thank you very much, Solomon, for that. So timing is kind of very, very important, and I think what you can also do for time management, you can also refer people to documentation. That's why I love Microsoft. For that, Microsoft has a lot of documentation. So because of time, you can just say, that, okay, you kindly go through this documentation, and then if you have any question, yeah, I'm open for that mentoring, or just get back to me. And so, just in order to make sure you make wise use of your time during delivering the class. But the most important thing is that they should understand whatsoever you want to impart into them within that space of time frame. And also don't forget, learning takes time. Let's not deceive ourselves. Learning takes time. So we all have different way we learn things. Okay. And now you are now having different set of people in a class. Let's talk about, you have people like 200 in a class. Jerry has had people of 200 people in his class, 100 in the class. So you can see different individual have different way they learn, they understand things. So learning really takes time. So yeah, thank you for that. So because of our time, I think we have just 5 minutes to just round up this call, because like I said, there's another meeting on this call. So I just have this one question. I have this question for Fred, and before I come back to Dan. So Fred, my question is, for those who are on this call, I can see somebody asking that question now, that is the MCT open to all? So I think you also answered that question. Now, for the benefit of those who are on this call today, who really want to become an MCT, okay? Now, what is the first step they need to take? Can you
Okay,
let us?
so yeah, thank you very much, Stephen, for the question. So the first step is, so far as you have the passion, you really want to be an MCT, you really want to teach. The first thing is to take any of the instructional, to take any of the role-based Microsoft courses, which has to do with the associate course or the applied. And then you also need to take an instructional skill certificate course. So those are the first two. So as far as you have these two, then at least you can now be applied or be presented as an MCT. It's very important. Role based, the role based. So you need to make sure that you have your associate or expert. Fundamentals will not get you in there. Previously, they were accepting the MOS course, which has to do with the Microsoft Excel expert and Word expert. But currently, no. Currently, the entry point is you need to ensure that you have a role-based certification, which has to do with the associate or the expert courses in any of the courses you can think of under Microsoft. Then so far as you get enrolled, currently there is a fee. So you also need to have a mind, because before you enroll, there is a fee attached to it, and the fee is based on your region in which you are based. So if you are based in Africa, you are based in Europe, you are based in the US, the fees differs. And normally it ranges from $400 to as minimum as 150 or $100, depending on the country in which you are based. So far as you are prepared in your mind for this, then at least I'm sure that you should be able to put yourself out there to really be an MCT. And as I said, the community is a very big one. And so far as you are willing to be an instructor, and in that space too, as Solomon and Dan said, at least you are also employable by TSPs, because for TSP to really train people on Microsoft certified technologies, at least they need to really get someone who is an MCT to do such a training. So first, you have an MCT, it can also bring you some additional income, also put you out there for you to be also attract TSPs to really come and hire you. And in the training field, it's a continuous learning. You learn every day. So far as you meet people, you are training constantly. You will learn every day, because in our world, in our space, things are changing every now and then. And we know that AI is also playing a big role in terms of the way we even learn and the way we even teach. So for me, in the MCT field, it's all about continuous learning. It's all about putting yourself out there to learn, and also having the passion to engage and to impact knowledge.
All right, all right. Thank you for that, and I think that answered the question of that. And I can see Dan said that. So the MCT program is open for all. It's open for everybody. As long as you have that passion, you have that mindset of also imparting to people and also learning. So it's open for all. And I think one way I will just advise anybody that want to become a Microsoft certified trainer is, first of all, you need to if you feel that you are afraid to face crowd, because at times these things can be either maybe physical or virtual. At times your delivery can either be physical or it can be virtual. So if you feel that, oh, maybe like, oh, I'm scared of crowd, or I'm shy to, even on call, so what you can do you can gather people in your community. Just tell them, okay, I want to teach you on XYZ things that you know for free. Just get the WhatsApp group, gather them, and get people, and then just train them. Just, okay, for 1 month I want to teach you that. So with that, you begin to build boldness in teaching and also delivering lectures. Okay, even when you see even become an MCT, at times you might be having that, like anxiety, or maybe you are just having those. So it's normal, but the most important thing is that don't allow that to scare you away to become an MCT. So don't allow that to actually scare you. Like I said, this is not a community that you are left alone. We have a whole lot of today. If you go on LinkedIn and you see if you see anybody who's an MCT, if you message that person, I'm very sure they will not ignore you. They will definitely want to give you one or two things that you need for that role. So thank you for that. And this last question, I think, goes to Dan, and then before we start wrapping up for today. So the question is, like we said earlier on, if you've been joining us, you know that Dan has been in this field for over 25 years, and he has told us the journey, it has not been easy. It's a passion, because it's the passion he has. At times when you see, I could remember when Dan was doing TikTok, he was still going on TikTok. He was still explaining how to make use of the TikTok live studio. I was like, wow. So you can see he has that passion to learn and also to impart into people. So which is very, very important. So my last question for you, Dan, is that I believe after this course, some people really want to enroll into MCT program. Okay, they will always want to become an MCT, and also they can do better in their field. Okay, so now, what is that one advice you want to give to those who really want to become an MCT? That's one advice you want to give to them.
Yeah, I'd say follow that passion. For me, the thing that was always standing in my way was the cost of the instructional skills, because I'd already passed the exams. So whether you have passed the exams and you're thinking about the instructional skills, or you don't have the exam or the instructional skills, both are prerequisites to becoming an MCT. So for many I have spoken with, the exam is the thing that they want to tackle first, the certification, the prerequisite certification. For others that I've talked to, they've done the instructional skills, and then they begin preparing, to your point, doing mock training, or doing training online, or doing a YouTube channel or TikTok, or whatever that platform might be. And then, getting that instructional skills becomes a prerequisite or requirement as well. So that's also your opportunity to meet other fellow new MCTs. They might be trainers previously, but are just getting that credential. But the network you build through that community is really, really helpful. So I'd say if you're interested in joining, just, figure out, maybe set goals. A lot of times I would just set goals for, I'm going to take an exam on this date. And if I wasn't ready, you can always reschedule an exam. But if you don't put a date to taking the instructional skills, taking the exam you need as a prerequisite, you're more likely to put those things off.
Wow. Wow. Thank you very much for that, Dan. I think one of the things you said is to set goals. With goals are very, very important. So when you set goals for yourself, you run with that particular goal, and just make sure. Okay, I can remember when I wanted to become an MCT. I just like I think I told Fred that time. I said I had to take I think a week off from work that particular just to enroll myself, and then to attend the class and all those things like that. So yeah, setting goals is very, very important. Yeah. It's very important for that. Thank you very much for that, Dan. All right, I think we are about to come to a close for this particular event. I'm not sure. Do you have any questions on the comment section? I don't think. Dan, can you see any question from your side?
I see a lot of thank yous and um, not a lot of
Yeah,
questions, at least recent. There might have been some that we missed here. Let me scroll back.
I yeah, I'm just trying to check from my side. I'm not sure there's any much questions. Okay.
Yeah, I see more comments and support of the event
Yeah.
than
Hmm.
specific questions. And I think we've answered most of them with the links that Hermine provided, and um, I know you provided the link to the prerequisites as well.
Yeah. Mm, yeah. All right. Okay. I think no questions. So for those who want to become an MCT, my LinkedIn is open. If you have more questions, you really probably are not clear about it, you know, you need more guide. You can always message back. Remember before this call, a lot of people messaged me about the MCT program, you know, and you know, even on WhatsApp, on LinkedIn, you know, I was able to, you know, give them the information about that. So like I said earlier on, becoming a Microsoft MCT, it has a great benefit. It has a great benefit. And if you are somebody who loves to do certifications, and maybe because of the amount is scaring you, once you become an MCT, you have discount to do your certification. So Microsoft has that discount for you to write your certification, which is very important. Okay, very important. So that discount is part of the benefit. You also have there are a lot of benefits. So when you come in, yeah, you're going to be told those benefits. This is just one of the benefits that you will get from this becoming a Microsoft certified trainer. So, like I said, you are not left alone. Don't be scared. Oh, once I become a Microsoft certified, am I going to be? No, you are not left alone. The community is there. The Microsoft MCT launch is there. We have a lot of people there. You can message. They will guide you through. You know. So yeah. So I'll just advise anyone on this call who wants to become an MCT. Yeah, just like what Dan says, set a goal for yourself. If you feel it's next year you want to become here, if you feel it's next 2 years or when you are ready, just set a goal and then run with that goal, and definitely you will be there. Like I said, you don't have to, you can't, you could, you don't have to be that perfect. You don't have to be 100% perfect to become an MCT. Okay, you don't have to be. If you are waiting to become perfect, then I don't think that day will come. Yeah, because you are all learning, we learn new things every day, we learn from each other, you know. So that is it. Thank you very much. I just want to appreciate the speakers, Dan, Frank, Solomon, and Frederick. Yeah, I want to really appreciate you guys. Really, thank you for the collaboration. Thank you for always rescuing me when I call you guys, you know, to come up for to speak on one of two events. Okay, so just to let you know that this year, um, there's no any other event from my own side this year. Until next year, I need to go and collaborate. So yeah, so by next year, we'll come back again with some other great event. Yeah, so like I said, if you want to learn any skills that you feel you feel you really want to, Jerry is there. You know, you can message him. If you message, if you don't answer, you just message me. I'll speak to him because he's a very busy person. So the only thing he needs from you is your dedication, your passion for it. So once you have that passion, you know, is there to assist. And then Dan has been an amazing person, like I said earlier on. It's amazing in every way. Dan has been so amazing. When you post, Dan will always comment on your post and then give you, you know, Dan will always tell you that, oh, speak to people to give you a recommendation, and that recommendation has really been very helpful. When people give a recommendation on LinkedIn and things like that. So yeah, so thank you very much, Dan, for what you do in the community, and also Frederick. Thank you very much. All right, so I really like to Dan, are you able to end this meeting?
Yeah, I can end the stream.
All right, okay, so thank you guys, thank you for connecting, and
Thank
see
you.
you
Thank
next
you
year
very much.
from my own end.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Great to meet
Yeah,
you, Dan.
yeah,
And
bye bye everyone. Yeah, bye bye.
bye.